Hi, Dave here, and today we're going to check out the work of Juho Laitila. He's an artist based in Seinäjoki, Finland. And he does have a fascinating style. A lot of his work actually they look a lot like sculptures to me, just because of the way they're painted. I'm going to focus more on his more recent work because I can actually see a bit of a style or a technique kind of change. His previous earlier works are a bit smoother compared to his more recent ones, where they're a bit more sculpted, a bit more you can see more of the brushstrokes, and I do like that kind of look. And what's so cool about Juho is that he does have a YouTube channel, so you can see a few of his videos, or a few of his process videos. And in a lot of his posts here, he does include GIFs or GIFs of his process, so it does help us plebeians to study his process. And I used to think I was kind of guessing before that he would photo bash certain textures, but just seeing the way he paints, I think he paints most of it. And it's just fascinating to see his painting style. It's actually kind of crude and not super clean, which I do like. Kind of like how John Wallen Liberto paints. He does like to use the round brush, Mr. Liberto, but if you see his kind of process, the way he paints, it's a bit random, not very organized. And Jordan Grimmer actually commented in a video where I reviewed his artwork, and he did mention the same thing about his process, where he's not even that clean apparently, or not that organized with his layering. So yeah, so it's cool to see this kind of rough kind of approach. Now here maybe he did photo bash, I don't know, it's hard to say, but he does have a very impressionistic style. He does like to keep the background rather simple. It's more about the character. He's not even focused more on character design. He's more into like creatures. He loves his felines and canines usually. That's kind of his go-to animal base, but sometimes he'll dabble in some birds and some goats. But he's more into like the whole predator kind of look, right? And the way he renders, it's a bit gouache-like in that it's you can see a lot of the brush strokes. Well, maybe not gouache-like, because he does go finer sometimes. And he actually likes to use the smudge tool. Or maybe this started out as a 3D model and then he painted over it. Okay. He actually likes to use the smudge tool a lot, which I do find fascinating, because you can actually sculpt forms using the smudge tool. So you can use that as a way of designing your forms and as a way of painting as well. And it kind of feels good to use the smudge tool, just because it feels like you're sculpting in 2D, which I find very, very efficient. And you can see a lot of artists do this whenever they do like weapon designs or something, or even Sparth likes to use the smudge tool for his environment concepts. And look at this painting. Look at how crude and how rough looking it is, but it looks amazing, right? It's not super clean, but it's awesome looking. Here you can see another kind of dog creature thing, right? And he has a bit of anatomy knowledge. He's actually getting good at doing like faces of dogs and cats. Like he can show them growling. Obviously he'll probably have like a reference photo on the side, but I do like it, right? And he doesn't render everything. The moment it hits the shadows, he just leaves it at black. And that's another thing I've noticed in his work. He likes to leave in some really strong blacks in it. So there's a bit of a contrast in his work. You can actually see him use a lot of this smudge tool in the beginning. And then as he goes further, then he'll start refining the painting by actually going stroke by stroke. Right? Look at how awesome that is. And his work isn't that finished in that the background is left simple. Maybe he'll paint a little bit of the foreground, but most of it is kind of focused usually on the head, right? And maybe in the arms a bit to show a bit of anatomy. Excuse me. And yeah, it's pretty cool, right? And again, his layering is not super clean. It's it's a direct way of painting, and it's definitely my kind of thing. And I do recommend you follow him on ArtStation just because you can see a lot of his GIFs or his process GIFs. This one actually feels it's a dragon of some kind, but I can see a bit of dog anatomy in the face. And he likes to go for more natural tones. He likes to go for browns, but the most prominent thing in his work is the kind of grayish kind of look. He's not into saturated types of or super saturated and colorful types of designs. He's very, very simple, I think. Great legs, damn, nice quads, nice calves, and he can do like folds in the skin as well, so that's pretty cool. It's going to feel more realistic, but look at how it's not even that super clean of a rendering, but it's a cool painting and it shows a bit of design, and that's kind of enough. It doesn't have to be finely rendered, and that's not it probably won't look good anyway, and it would not look like his work. So reminds me a bit of Tobian, what's his name, Tobian Kwan, I believe, or Tobias Kwan. I did an art review of his work as well. They have like similar creature design leans or kind of aesthetics, right? A focus on the head. Look at how crude that is. Look at how impressionistic. Oh shit, impressionistic, right? Very, very interesting looking horns here. And he does have a bit of hue variety, although it's not super saturated. He likes to keep it low, and you can see him use a bit of that smudge tool here, right? And it's a great way to drag paint around. I don't see him using the mixer brush a lot, so there's not a lot of softness in his work. It's very, very direct, and usually it's kind of sharp in a way. Like the edges are often clear, even though it's a bit impressionistic. It's a bit more clear. Yes. Again, the smudge tool, and then he'll start painting over that. Very, very awesome shape design. I mean, even at this level, it looks composition wise, it looks awesome. And again, with the background, he just keeps it simple, right? Pretty cool. Oh, he does have like a video of this on his YouTube channel. When it comes to his brushes, he likes to keep it simple. Not a lot of texture in his brushes, apparently. But the way he can render the forms, let's say in this mouth part, it looks like a lot. Like there are forms within forms, and it feels more realistic as you go further into that special zone where you get more detail, right? And it's usually the face, the head, the mouth, the eyes, right? And look at how it gets simpler as you go away from the main focus, but it's sort of like a sharp shift of detail, and you can see more value variation or gradation, so it's going to feel a bit more realistic. I mean, look at the way he did the mouth or the insides of the mouth as well. Very, very cool. Even the teeth, they're a bit 3D, right? Very, very cool. Reminds me a bit of that kind of creature in the Avatar film, the kind of lion. It's like an alien kind of cat lion that eventually died fighting the V-Mech dude. Anyway, right? I look at how unclean it is. It's a good kind of unclean. It's impressionistic. Impressionistic. Oh yeah, he started with this. It's kind of an earlier work of his, and then he decided to do a redraw or repaint of it, and you can see the development in terms of his skill, right? Damn. This one feels very soft, very, very muddy looking. And this one, it's a bit, it's not a bit, it's definitely way beyond this, right? And this one feels more like a lion if you look at the face. And again, look at the amount of hue variation, but it's not super strong. It's pretty toned down. It's pretty toned down. And the main rendering happens usually in the face, even in his creature designs. And you can still see his initial kind of strokes using the smudge tool to kind of drag paint around, right? Look at that. Look at that. And again, very, very strong contrast. He loves his darks. And this one's more of a goat. Again, with the smudge tool thing here, great way of dragging paint around. The background is kept simple. Oh, I can see a bit of rake brush use here just to add a bit of a bit of variety. But a lot of it is just very, very natural looking hues here. Lots of browns. Or you can see a bit of greens, some blues, some yellows, some reds. But again, the saturation is pretty toned down. Very, very impressionistic way of painting, right? A bit more detail in the eyes here, a bit more. There's a bit more anatomy going on, and you can tell by the way he rendered the like the edge control is more apparent in the face because obviously it's going to have more detail and more clarity. It needs to be more clear, right? But look at the way he did this bunch of strokes here. Very, very rough, impressionistic, fuck. Awesome. Oh, this guy lost his other horn. Badass. Boy. This actually looks more like a rat than a wolf. So, reminds me of the dad of the Ninja Turtles, right? I think they had a rat for a dad. Oh shit, his arm is lost. Or maybe it's just like incomplete, but even the way he did the folds here, I mean, Jesus, damn. I mean, look at the amount of hues involved here. Right? It's not, even though it's not super saturated, it's so full of life. It reminds me of a lot of watercolor paintings where they mix in a bunch of hues, and usually it happens in a wet on wet kind of painting. You can see how they kind of all blend together, and it just feels good in the eyes when you have all of the colors in your painting. Although you have to be careful because sometimes you can overwhelm the person. You do have to tone down a lot of the hues, but you can include the entire kind of color spectrum or hue spectrum in the painting and not, you know, make it weird. Kind of like this one, it's pretty cool looking. I mean, you pretty much have everything here. You have the greens, the reds, the blues, right? The yellows, but it looks complete. And look at how he did the eyes, right? Look at how the forms, the anatomy is more apparent. As you go further out with the ears and with the top of the head, it gets vaguer and vaguer, but the overall silhouette is still roughly there, you know. The background is kept simple. It has a very kind of artistic kind of look. Reminds me a bit of Jeff Simpson. And again, Tobias, I think his name is Tobias Kwan. Fuck, right? Yeah, the folds in this thing here, shit, it's amazing. Right, whiskers, and he knows how to draw them or paint them in a growling kind of look, like they're kind of pissed off. Very, very common in, I mean, most mammals do have this kind of angry kind of look, and he can do it with the it usually happens near the nose, right? Kind of like we do the same thing, but obviously he has a thing for like dogs and cats and shit. Now this one, I think it's based off of a goat, but this guy is just demonic as fuck. But look at how amazing this thing is, right? It's so rich in variety. It's a bit refined as you kind of zoom out, but fuck me. Ani-chan, senpai. Lots of smudge tool use, I'm guessing in the beginning, just to kind of lay the foundation in, pulling paint around, making some impacts, and then it gets rougher as you go further down, but he obviously had to focus more on the head. And look at this kind of nice spotlight here, right? The background is left dark. I think it's based off of a goat, but obviously it's more of like a zombie demonic kind of thing. There's a bit of a complementary thing going on here. Look at the reds and the greens, right? That's kind of the dominant kind of a complementary hues. And then he kind of ties that together with the grays or the whites. Oh, a bit of blues here on top, blue-green, right? But look at the way he rendered the face, the head. Oh, fuck. It's definitely way more rendered. If you zoom in, you can see that impressionism in his work, but fuck me. Right? And again, he likes to leave certain parts, usually the ones in shadows, in, just as is, kind of like a silhouette. And he likes to keep that all throughout his work. Very, very high contrast. Look at the amount of hue variety though, especially in the head. The amount of brush variety as well. I mean, you can see him use the rake brush, but a lot of his brushes are actually fairly solid, not a lot of texture. But because he does so many strokes, it looks so full and it looks so rich. So this could be the cover for his thumbnail, I guess. Maybe. Oh shit. So this is the process. Oh, he added the horns, or he had to redo a few parts. Look at how rough his process is, right? Very, very random and just going with the flow kind of guy. Look at the smudge tool he used in the beginning, just playing with the form. It's very, very fluid types of pulls and pushes, So very, very organic approach, right? And again, awesome. It was cool for him to post the GIFs, the process, right? Now this one's more of a side view of some kind of dog, right? Look at the richness. He does get simpler with the tail, lots of dragging of the paint. And look at the background, very, very artsy, Maybe he does have like a fine art background. You can see a lot of smudge tool used there. It's left very graphic in a way, the background usually, but he likes to go into more realism in terms of rendering, I guess. It's not full on like realism, but it does feel more anatomically there, just because it's a bit more rendered in terms of like the forms are more sculpted, and shit, right? Again, strong contrast in his work, right? Natural colors. And it does actually look like a wooden sculpture. And look at the amount of brush strokes used here, right? I really like seeing this sort of thing. And look at the hue variety in this piece. Look at the greens here. And look at the reds, a bit of blues, a bit of purples, right? But again, not super strong. And the most common color is his grays, I think. Is gray a color? Fuck. Right? Damn. What the fuck is this? Okay. Lots of smudge tool, paint overs. Extended the canvas a bit, or the image. And then he just refined things as he goes. So maybe he started out with this canvas size and then eventually kind of just kept going further out. That's usually how I do things as well. Very, very cool. Oh, hi. This one's more of a cat, meow. Again, same approach, very, very natural looking colors. The background is super simple though. Very, very clean. Well, very, very simple in that not a lot of brush strokes in the background. Here he did invest some time working a bit in the background. Yes. And again, he likes to draw like the whole folds in the skin whenever the animals make some kind of expression, right? Oh, it's based off of his sketch, a pencil sketch, and then he brought it into Photoshop. And then he just started developing it like a boss, right? This is one of his rare concepts where he does a humanoid character. Now, obviously, the legs do differ. In anatomy, it's obviously not human, kind of like a goat demon thing, but it's obviously a bit more cultured, I guess. But look at how it's pretty simple in terms of the hues are not super saturated. It's actually a bit more refined in a way. just because I can't really see like the brush strokes, you know. It's not super, it's super, it's not super, fuck me. It's not super rendered, however, it's a bit, maybe it's because it's zoomed out, it's zoomed out, right? Anyway, very, very rough sketch, and then he developed it as he goes. Look at how unclean and very, very direct it is, right? Am I right or am I right? Awesome sculpture, right? Very, very artsy. I love the brushstrokes, confident lines. Grrr. Oh, this one, it feels more like a rat in a way. And look at how unfinished it is, and yet it speaks to you, right? Ooh, artist, step aside. Juho in the house, bitch. Oh, this one's pretty cool. Look at that. You're seeing this guy from the bottom a bit. The chin is up, confident. Very, very strong jawline here. Very, very jealous of his jawline here. And look at the brushstrokes. Very, very rough and not a lot of texture. I think he did add a bit of noise in the end. Great whiskers, a bit of that growling kind of like look, badass. This one's more of a lion-ish kind of thing. Now this one is more of an armor design, very, very bird-like, but I do like the animalisticness of it. Is that a word? It's very, very, he's really into animals, that's the point. And it shows off in his designs, right? He doesn't just do creature designs, he does, if ever he does anything beyond creature designs, let's say armor like this one, it's going to look very, very animalistic. You know, he does have like a design style as well, heavily influenced by the usually canines and felines, but he likes his birds, the occasional birds, you know. Awesome lion. Meow. This one's more elegant because it's yellow. Racist. It's golden. It's golden yellow. Black and yellow, black and oh, look at the contrast, right? Oh, it's not super dark. It's not like a pure black. He did adjust the levels, I'm guessing, to make it slightly dark gray, right? Am I right? Am I right? Now this one has a bit of environment in it. Lots of, I'm not sure if they're vines or if it's, maybe. And look at how it's a sculpture of, I think it's it's frozen in stone or in time. Like there's an actual creature here that's kind of probably just dormant and just sleeping, you know. Look at the anatomy, right? And look at the forms. Very, very organic. Organic. Ooh, a lot of his work does look like sculptures to me. Feels like some kind of wooden, maybe he did use a photo in the beginning and then he just painted over it. I'm just guessing, but again, the background super simple, very, very abstract, graphical in nature. And very, very artsy. And then he goes into, look at how he did the carving details here in the face, in the mouth. Again, he likes the teeth. Very, very predatory types of characters or designs, right? This one's more of a feline. Oh, feline? Yeah. Lion. Wooden. Bug. Now this one's really badass. Look at that. Very, very oak-ish. Very, very dark brown. This one feels more like royalty in a way. Now, not a lot of gold in it, but it feels matured. I mean, even the face of this cat, of this creature, is kind of ethereal, very, very above you. It looks finer though, just because it's hard. The brush size gets smaller, so it looks a bit more rendered, especially in the face, right? Damn. And then this one is just fuck. Almost like an alien, but you can still see the predatory look that he's going for. Very, very animalistic. The rake brush is there again. It's not his main brush, obviously, but he likes to add a few brush strokes of that from time to time for some variety. Brush variety. Oh, he does have like a human being here, but obviously he's actually a bit ripped. So fuck. although it's not fully human just because there are exaggerations obviously. So maybe he is part wolf, or he can turn into like a wolf. Whoa. Again, he likes his grays, you know, and the occasional purples, right? He likes to use a kind of flat brush as well. Right? Very direct way of painting. I think I would recommend the work of Tobias Kwan. He did this dragon kind of design, which really reminds me of Tobias in seeing Juho's work. Obviously the face and the chest is way more rendered. The same thing goes for the wolf here, right? Like a lone wolf. Oh, we have a bird. We have the occasional bird. Look at how he did the feathers. He didn't really render the feathers. He just kind of suggested it. Maybe a bit of more, well, not refinement, but a bit more suggestion in the face, obviously. But look at how crude it gets as you go further down, right? You can see a lot of that overlaying brush strokes. You can see the smudge tool that he likes to use, especially in the beginning of his work. And again, very strong darks here, right? It's not a pure black, but the contrast is definitely there. Look at how even if this bird is kind of white, it still feels clear, even though the background is kind of the same value. They're not in the same values, but they're pretty close, right? But it's still the silhouette is still recognizable. Whoa, am I right? Or am I right? Even this bird looks kind of angry, right? Lots of brush strokes, lots of pencil-like brush strokes here. A bit of smudge tool here. Look at how graphic this part gets, right? Very direct. We have another dog. Feels more like a vine or something, like some kind of organic roots, you know? It's kind of becoming a wolf, like a lone wolf. Again, it looks like some kind of sculpture. Very organic. Again, very strong darks here. Strong contrast. The silhouette of it is clear. The background is kept simple. Very artsy. A bit more rendering in the face, in the mouth, in the eyes. The forms are just clear. It's a bit more rendered in a way. Well, not fully rendered, but the forms are just clearer, you know. Not a lot of hue variety for this one. Very heavy on the greens. Even the shadow parts, they have more blues, a slight lean on blues, or on a bluish purple kind of hue. So I can see a bit of warmth in the background, but not too much. But if you zoom in, right, you can see a lot of his playful, just amazing, direct, confident brushstrokes, right? Here we have another wolf, a werewolf. You're seeing his belly. He's very hairy, and I'm very jelly. Whoa! Cynthia. 21 Jump Street reference there. Anyway, it still looks like a wooden sculpture. Am I right? Very strong contrast. Lots of darks. Gets a bit more rendered, obviously, in the head. Very animalistic. Oh, you know what? This actually looks more like a bear in a way. A mix between a bear and a wolf and a human being, right? Very long hands. You can see more of that silhouette, that graphical look as you go further down. I love the way he was able to suggest the fur. Right? And even though it looks like a wooden sculpture, it doesn't look like a wooden just because of the flowiness of the hair, right? Because if it's a wooden kind of thing, it's going to look kind of heavy and sharp. But for this guy, he was able to achieve that kind of flowiness in the hair. Damn. So that's Juho Laitila for you. I recommend you follow him on ArtStation and check out his YouTube channel. He does have quite a few videos, but most of them are actually of his older works, but you can see I do know this guy right here has a video, a time-lapse video, and you can actually see and enjoy the way he paints. And if you're not satisfied with that, just check him out on ArtStation. He has a lot of GIFs or GIFs, so you can actually see his process. Yeah. So that's it for this art review of Juho Laitila's work. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Keep drawing, keep painting, and stay free.